What's up, Biz?
Brother G, what's up, man?
I'm good, brother.
Now they get to put a face with the voice.
Now they get the face with the voice again.
24
Did we even do that early on in season 2?
Maybe once. I think I stood in once. We did the first episode. No, I haven't been in none of season 2.
Oh, so I think you jumped in. Like, you came over and said
yeah. Because Don had to go pee.
Yeah, Don had to pee. I mean, there was at least one other time, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Common Sense, the podcast. Yeah, we're recording this one. Sorry. Our intentions were to do this live and really get y'all to chime in, get a lot of feedback, but you're just going to have to leave us lots of comments and send us messages afterwards.
ICC is like totally under this brand new revamp. I think within 3 weeks you'll be able to see why we had to move spaces for a little while. But
you're going 3 weeks? I'm going 6 weeks.
I think 3.
I think soft opening is going to be on X date.
Oh, you mean like legit ribbon cutting, like
no,
bam,
but I mean
6
like
weeks?
that'll happen on X date. I think you know what date that is.
I don't. I just hear whistling in the wind. No, okay. I'm making my assumption based on what I'm seeing.
It's about 6 weeks is when the soft opening is planned.
Okay.
According to right now, but the room that we record in, which it makes sense, has become a glorified storage room between head HQ and what they're working on. So I don't see them stopping that. No. And that'll be the very last room that they finish out before they do the soft opening.
That makes sense.
I mean, like, it's what makes sense. I mean, if I was running the construction project, that's what I would do.
It makes sense because it's the room that people don't see anyway.
It's the room that nobody sees. It's shut off. It's secure. You can do all that stuff. So,
well, it's allowed us for the last few episodes to go to your glorious studio and hang out, but now Texas actually does have a winter, so it got, I guess you said the north wind got a little too cold.
Wind, man, I haven't put that shade in yet, so that north wind, man, it's unbearable. Ask any of the people that came over to my house for New Year's.
Well, so
my wife froze out 2 wives on the patio.
There, even with all your heaters and fires.
Oh, man,
and
it don't matter.
else.
It don't matter. When that north wind is blowing, man, it is a straight up like wind tunnel. Like, think about that old Maxwell commercial where the dude's like,
oh yeah, with the speakers hitting them. Yeah,
that's what that north wind does thugh there when it starts cracking. Yeah,
having that. Well, thank you very much for Derek and Cherie Sims for giving us, gracing us with allowing us to use the cigar lounge here at the Monarch Stag. Which
if you guys have not been yet to the Glen next door, their restaurant, or the Monarch Stag, or Rare Books. They own them all.
They own it all. Very dear friends of mine. I've been allowed to do a lot of social media stuff for them. I actually got to document the building of this whole thing from demo of the old company, whatever that was here, to the ribbon cutting, like to the grand opening. So every process, every step from auditioning, they have a Cirque du Soleil type ring acrobatics and all kind of stuff, to the shelving, to this spot is dope.
Yeah, so. I mean, they got the piano man or guitar set up depending on what little music they have going here. They got the cigar lounge, which is where we're at right now. You guys are invited to join us too. Like, I know you guys are going to see this after the fact. Watch the posts. If this goes well today and Derek and Cherie are happy with how this all went down when they get back from vacation,
we may be here again.
We're going to rock and roll.
You know what?
Thank you, Don Brooks, too, because Don Brooks was very instrumental in making this happen.
This is DB's spot. I didn't realize how much he hangs out here until the last time he was on it. He bounced from the podcast to come down here.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think it would be interesting. Now, you talk about common sense. Derek and Cherie, when I saw how they do business and the things they do and how they do it, because I spent the year with them doing this, and I was like, damn, it's everybody doesn't get, they just see the end results, they don't see the work that goes in. Yeah. And I'm talking about down from, I sat a whole day with Cherie as she picked out silverware, glasses, napkins, and it was different glasses and silverware for like when they first open to late night, like that all switches as you go. So just the nuances that they put into this. If you look at the glasses, and it's the same things that I'm noticing at ICC when you have to go through and they're testing different wine glasses for different looks and feels and all that. The patron doesn't see that. We just show up and have a good time. You're not even paying attention to the glass. You're looking at the libation in it and don't realize how much decision and planning goes in to that glass.
From the curtains to the chairs to the tables to the ashtrays to the
all of that.
That's just in the cigar part. And they got, a full-blown bar and restaurant on both sides. And, Rare Books, I mean, what Derek has curated there in his bourbon alone, I mean,
it's dope.
It's sick.
It's dope.
I mean, if y'all haven't been, you really need to check it out. I mean,
plain on in the
both of them, I mean, like, top-notch experiences. I think you can go back and find on my page too. My wife and I were actually in the commercial you shot when they were first opening
When they first opened it up to see what the experience is like.
The seafood, the cocktails, the nightlife, the whole atmosphere they've curated down to everything.
So I'm going to switch it up for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And tell me, this is second season, second year. You've been doing this. This has been a dream of yours. This is something you wanted to do. We know how you blogged and got here from blogging to that.
Yeah.
What have you taken away out of all the guests? Can you name anybody in particular that probably you took away the most from that episode? Is there any one?
Name one that I took the most away from? Man, my wife's going to laugh. I'm so glad this isn't live now.
Well, theoretically, it is, because I'm not going to edit what you just said. We're going to keep that there.
No, but I'm saying I'm glad we can't be getting the comments right now already.
Oh, because she would get, okay.
Because she makes fun of me, because I'll come home from an episode and she'll be like, well, how was it? Even though she watched the whole damn thing, or at least most of it, unless she was working. And I'm like, oh man, that was the best. Like, I didn't think it was going to go like this or that. And I have so much to say about it, or, what we talked about on air versus off air. There's just been so much, but it would be really hard for me to say one guess. I think I would have learned is like, it's really amazing.
Well, give me an overall then. Let's not make it
people that would how willing they are to share their stories and experiences, and to tell their story. And people want the opportunity to do that, and I just think it's really cool. I mean, I can tell you, I can think about like 3 moments right off the top of my head that I was just absolutely blown away, and I wasn't expecting that. Like Alvin talking about his suicide attempt.
Yeah, that was
stuff like that, man. Like that, when something like that happens and trying to transition and like figure out where you're gonna go, it's like, and of course, it's like time you don't have a mic. I'm looking at you like, throw me a lifeline, bro. Throw me something.
2024, I will be totally mic'd up. I'm even working on a second camera, so we'll call it the Bizzy, like what the F camera, because there's moments like that. But you know what, though? But I like it because that was a natural. Mm-hmm. It was something, and it caught you off guard, the emotion of it. And if anybody listening or watching, it's the same effect. You're not the only one that probably responded that way.
Yeah, I mean, stuff like that. But I mean, like one guest that I learned the most from, there's little things I take from each one. So that's really hard to say. Like Scott Phillips, man, like I got him to talk about, he kept talking about the Cowboys. We just posted that short clip where he was talking about the coaching and how he wants somebody to get him 5 minutes with the Cowboys and then he can fix them. Like he brought it up, like, he brought this stuff up like a lot, like Navy SEAL, Man of Faith, Jiu-Jitsu, like he was adamant about this X factor. And man, it took me, we talked for a while before the show. We were on there for
2 hours,
well
plus.
over 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then I had him there for another hour and a half after the show. And it took me all that just to get him to break that down a little bit for me. And I ain't going to spill it because I think he's going to do a book and he wants that to be part of his book. So I get it. But like little things like that of sharing experiences, the way someone was able to flip something around, there was a lot, the ones that amazed me as well, like, do you know what our number one show was from the year? Like the most viewed, like, and it's so skewed. That's going to tell you who it was, I think. But like number one show, do you know what it was? Frenchie. Baptiste Marchese. The bench press master from the bench to the wild.
He hunts bears and alligators and crawdads, but he's from France and he lives on a ranch way out in Weatherford, Texas, Timbuktu. He's like the French mountain man.
Yeah, he's like the most Frenchman ever turned Texas redneck ever.
And he
did it in a minute. And he is like full-blown Texas redneck now.
Bought the truck with no floor and all kind of crazy shit. But over in France, they want to do that, and he's doing it, so they want to be that. But that, who I took the most from was the young man that was an entrepreneur with the cars. Who was that?
Are you talking about Doug Cardoza? Or are you talking about Spanky?
He started rapping and everything else. Remember him?
Oh, JJ.
JJ. I am him to a degree, but I'm much older. But it's like there were so many things like, shit, I didn't think of that, or I didn't think of that.
With you on that one.
Really? I just liked what his attitude, whether some people call it cocky, some people call it confident. I call it but he had a sense of, I know what I want and I'm going to get it come hell or high water.
Oh, JJ's, you're either going to hate him or love him. And I mean, I've got both sides of it. I mean,
there's no gray.
There's no gray.
There's no gray. It is a black or white. And I just, at 14, the way he was flipping cars, things like that, that's what I like to see in people. Find a hustle all day. I hustle so damn much, I don't want to hustle no more. We've always talked off camera. I am spinning so many plates. I just want 2 or 3, not 17. You know, but when it's in you and you get excited about so many things, it's hard to turn that off. But Tyler Perry said, think of this. Tyler Perry is an example. A man that was homeless and all he had was one play, just one play. And for 5 years, every season, he tried to get this play to work and it never did. Then he put everything he had into one last show. He was living homeless in his van. And finally, he found his niche, his audience, which was the church audience. Medea's more churchy. And all these church folks showed up. And now this man owns his own studio, larger than Warner Brothers lot, whatever. It's an entire army base converted into a studio because he focused on one thing. He watered one plant, one flower, one rose. Instead of trying to do a whole bushel, he got it down to one and just mastered that one.
That's crazy. I'm reading a book, and I can't even tell you who it's written by right now, but I just started this, and the book is literally called One Thing.
The One Thing. It's a white book with the big
O-N-E. I got the digital version.
It's called The One Thing. Yes, I read it a long time ago.
I'm in the middle of that right now.
That is where my clarity is lying. But the problem is, if you look at me, digital creator, things like that. DJing, I breathe, dude. I've been doing that shit since I was 12. That's easy. But in the digital creation world, that's one thing, but it's so many things under that one thing. Podcast producing, marketing, filmmaking, all these other nuances.
I think what's helping you is you're getting to a point where you can pick and choose a little bit.
And
you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
But you still got to treat it like a business. And if someone's not responding in a business-like way,
got to keep it moving.
Then whether you really wanted to do that project or not, you need to kick that one to the curb. And I think that's something you've been doing steadily over the last year.
Well, because the desperation for money when you stop chasing money and start looking at success, money then becomes the byproduct of what you do. And I've had to learn that because now, and also the quality of what you mess with and what you work with.
Yeah.
If you know this, you've had clients that are beer budget and they're the biggest pain in your ass, and you have clients that are straight champagne and it's the smoothest. As long as you provide the value and what you promised, they're the easiest to work with. They give you the most referrals. They do everything. But when you get the bottom of the barrel cheap client, man,
I mean, either way,
worst.
You do what you say you're going to do. And I live with that. I mean, and I've never left anybody hanging. You know, whether it's the little job or the big ass job, I've never walked away from a job. I've never thrown in the towel and been like, you know what, we're done. Find somebody else to finish this job.
Brandon,
I've never done that in 15 years. You know, I like to think I've treated everybody with the same amount of respect, and I always do what I say I'm going to do. Now, you know, because I mean, construction, there's always stuff that happens. There's problems you got to work through. That's part of the game. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think as long as you do those things, the stuff comes together. Like when you worry about something, it's just like, you know, I look back to like when I was younger, and like when you worry about finding the girl, you ain't going to find the girl. The minute you stop looking,
they show up.
You find the girl.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, it's like clockwork. Like when you like, and to me, I think you can manifest certain things. You know, me and my wife just had a really interesting conversation about this within the last week. I'm a very strong believer in that you can manifest things, and that the more good you put out there and the more bad you can keep out of your life and the more things you can focus on. You know, I've cut way back, and, you know, this year was a year of transformation for me. There's a lot of things I didn't like that were happening in my life. There were a lot of things that were getting out of control, you know, like my weight. You know, I mean, I made that a mission in 2023.
Yeah, we went in on that one. After Alex came on, we just said, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, we started the year. Our first show last year was Alex. I was like, you know what? This is part of what I'm doing. This is going to happen.
I just talked to him today, because I missed my appointment meeting today because I was swamped with work and I missed it. But still checking in. But you're correct. You have to realize, but going back to that one thing, I have a friend of mine that puts 200 goals Like if it's 224, she'll make 224 goals. I'm like, how do you do that? I got 5. Just 5. And I wanted to make
really
less than
good at
that.
multitasking, and you're not.
Nah, there's no such
You
thing.
shouldn't be multitasking.
There's no
it means
such thing.
you're taking away from one thing to focus on another one. Like, that's one thing I like, that they talk about that in that One Thing book. Like, multitasking is like the biggest crux shit. I used to be like the hardcorest planner. Like, I'm so OCD about certain things and like planning this and scheduling it out. And it's like, now I try to look at it as like, what's the one thing, like, that I really need to focus on today? What's going to make the biggest difference? Like, but I'm still looking at that in like, what's the one thing I can do with the podcast? What's the one thing I can do at Element Enterprises? What's the one thing I can do with my wife? Those type of things as they come up throughout the day. And things that don't matter seem to kind of go away or fall out of place.
My goal is just to like, even with this, getting here, setting up whatever, it's like I have to stop having 3 and 4 things in one day and just have 1 or 2. Because everything, no matter what it is, that one thing, like before I got here, finishing up something somewhere else, they'll run late.
Yeah.
And it causes usually to be 15 minutes late. And Brandon told me the biggest thing, the goal that I would set if I were you, is just be on time. Be on time, be 10 minutes early to any and everything you got. You'll never be late with anything. Just that.
Yeah.
Time management has been a part of my goals every year for like the last 10 years. And the problem is, I figured it out just this year. I overschedule myself too much. My wife gets in my ass about it all the time, but I always think that, hey, if I see a free window in my calendar, as long as it's free, I'll stick something in there. I never give myself a chance to breathe in between anything. If it's a meeting, if it's a lunch, if it's anything. And now that I pretty much kind of take care of my mom since my dad passed away last year, it is a lot more with that because I got to take her to doctor's appointments, make sure she's good and all those things. So that's something that's a little volatile but she does pretty good at letting me know when her appointments are.
That's an adjustment too.
It's a big adjustment. And so when you cut a lot of the other nuances out, now you want to take meetings or take things that actually are going to have some point of return. That's what I'm trying to make sure now, that everybody knows what I can do, what I bring to the table. Time management needs to get better. I admit that all day, but I no longer have to audition. You know what I do. You've got it. You've seen it. You watched it. We good. So now here's my value. Here's what my value is worth. Either you do or you don't. And if you don't, I've learned the one big thing: everybody's not your client. And I've had to fire clients. Everybody's not it. So even in life, if you talk about common sense, now this is the part where you have to start using it. And to me, I think common sense is learned and earned. And you earn it by the mistakes you make. You learn those lessons from it, and you can continue on. I mean, my biggest challenge this year is I have again, because I've already gone through it, but with my adopted son, I have a 15-year-old. Mm-hmm. And going through that again, it's like, I mean, damn, dude, I had this dude drug tested last month because I was like, you just can't be this damn stupid. You must be on something. No, he wasn't. Everything was negative. I had him tested for everything down to aspirin. Like, is this kid on something? No,
Are you
it's
huffing
just
paint?
just something. And it's just, he's a 15-year-old Gen Z or whatever gen he is, Alpha, I don't know. He's a 15-year-old in the 21st century.
Buck the system and do what I want.
Man, and I was us because we live in Frisco. All them kids, I don't care where you are. I got nieces and nephews and all of them that are just on some entitled shit that I haven't. I mean, you have to earn it. This kid has to earn his haircut.
We created that though.
Gary Vee said that. You can't be mad about it because you made him.
No, because we gave them everything we didn't have, and we didn't take the time. I know, but I mean, we didn't take the time to show them
how to get it.
My
kids have to earn haircuts, dude.
They have to earn it, but like if they don't, we still fall through because it's easier than taking the time to show them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying just specific to your kid, like in that situation, but it's like, my dad, my grandfather was a builder. Like he built the first 2 houses they lived in. Like master carpenter, like could do anything. My dad, he learned how to do some of that, but he was more of like a wood carver and learned how to play with that stuff because he didn't want to build a damn house. He didn't want to do that. He wanted to find a way to be able to have the money to pay somebody to do it.
I agree.
And then that goes on the same thing. So did I help my dad? Did we build a tree house when I was a kid and stuff like that? Yeah, we did that. But I wasn't taught a trade or a skill like that where those kids do that. And that has generationally gone down and down, down because there's more stuff that computers are doing and being industrialized, and these kids are doing that. But like, just like we had to show our parents how to program a VCR to record a TV show. Well, these kids are showing us how to tell ChatGPT how to program our lives, you know, like, I mean, like, they know, because that's all they do is sit and play on these damn iPads and their laptops.
But
and
where are the vocational things like a plumber, a carpenter,
going by the wayside.
Electrician, a mechanic, like these things? So I watched the episode of South Park, and it was funny because a handyman was now a 7-figure job because nobody else knew how to do the simple stuff. And so the handyman could take it. It was funny. He showed up broke driving an old beat up Toyota at the beginning of the episode. And at the end, he was showing up to jobs in a brand new Escalade with gold chains on. And he had little dudes doing the job for him because people were bidding just to have them come change out a trap on a sink. They couldn't do that, and that's just like, that's kind of where the society is going to. And like when my mom went to a technical high school where it was a vocational school. It was a high school, but it had 4 trades that were there. And I'm like, yes, IT and coding and all that stuff is cool, but there's no emphasis on teaching the things, all the people that did this.
Yeah.
And you can pretty much set your price if you can make it happen.
We're going to do an episode. There's going to be an upcoming episode early this season where we're going to sit down with Grady and Ryan.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to sit down with Grady
with
first,
builders.
and then we're going to do like a round table with me, Ryan, and Grady.
Wow.
I'm telling you for a fact, in the next 10 years, whoever goes out there and finds a way to train craft tradesmen, I'm talking like, take a mentorship, something, work as the lowest man on the totem pole, but become a master at plaster, drywall, painting,
you can write your own
plumbing, electrical, you know, these things. Those are diminishing so fast, and those people are retiring, and there's the people that can do that are going to be able to charge an absolute premium.
If I wasn't as old as I was,
expensive right now,
I would do that.
Yeah, I'm same here.
Seriously.
I mean, like, I'm not going to turn around and go start swinging a hammer and, you know, learning how to frame a house and become a master framesman or a trim guy. But somebody that does, some 20-year-old right now that jumps on, that's not sure what they should do with their life, and that likes physical labor and likes to do this and like wants to learn how to run a business, like, learn how to do that. I guarantee you, those people are going to get paid as much, if not more, than doctors and lawyers.
And then if they take that trade, pass that down, teach it, and run their own team. I mean, and I truly believe anything you do, no different than what I do. If I can teach somebody how to do it, I can show them how to do it. But if something happens, I can get in there and do it as well because I taught it. A lot of people want to get into management and overseeing a project management, but if somebody doesn't show up for work that day, are you able to pick up the weight and run with it?
That's the problem in construction. Most of these project managers don't know how to actually do the work. I mean,
they can run a project.
They can run the project. They know who to call. They're calling Juan and Jose and, you know, all these guys, but like,
they can't get down.
If they don't
do
show up or whatnot, that job just sits, and it doesn't matter what other circumstances there are, timelines, deadlines. It doesn't matter because it's just going to sit.
This past year has been kind of like what you just said. If you think about it, I've had conversations with people who get mad when they talk about people from other nationalities and cultures and get mad and this and third and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I said, do you notice something with entitlement just with being within yourself as American? If you notice other cultures come into this country, bust that ass, create something and go with it. And that's just a way of thinking. It's a mindset. I'm not saying everybody can't do it, but there is, when people try to, you know, that's what I love about a cigar lounge. We really don't talk about race and politics and religion, and then we do, but I just say in comparison to, if you look at the comparison of the American dream, what made me think of this is that this year I watched, there's been a ton of documentaries on Netflix of different people, and I watched Arnold Schwarzenegger's documentary, and I was like, think about that. He just literally focused on Charles Atlas and wanted to be a bodybuilder, did it. Then he focused on Ronald Reagan, wanted to be a politician, he did it. Then he wanted to be governor. I mean, just, and the only thing that stopped him from being the president is because he wasn't born in this country. Otherwise, he would have done that.
Yeah.
But just the focus and the tenacity to do something and it not stop you come hell or high water.
Yeah, I agree with that. But, this started, and this will get me slammed a little bit on here. And this ain't saying me leaning either way. Some of this started back like Barack Obama and Trump with this border stuff. And I'm not saying that this is not a huge, huge issue. But it absolutely is. Where we screwed up is we need to find a way to secure our borders, but at the same time, we need to find a way to make legit people that want to come to America and chase the American dream a guaranteed, easy, efficient, effective way to do so. I mean, we have all the technology. We have Clear Eyes and shit where we can skip an airport line and they can run our entire background if we get our stuff entered into the system so that they can go, oh, yep, he's good, let him go. If we can do that for flying through an airport and getting where we want to go, then why can we not secure our borders and have a process in place to where we do an Interpol check and background check and you run this stuff like, yeah, it's going to take time, but there's more jobs for people to process people in and out. Here's your temporary. This is a 90-day. This is your 1 year, and then now you're on your way to your, full-on deal. Like, that should be really easy to solve. But no, we've bullshitted around messing with this for the last decade. Slowly but surely, and, I don't think I'm saying anything wrong here, that, like Hispanics, like the Latinos, they're hard-working people.
Without a doubt.
And they will do the jobs that, no offense, most white people don't want to do. I mean, and I don't think it's just a skin color thing either, but I mean, most Americans don't want to do the jobs that foreigners will do. And that's not just one race. I mean, that's across the board. Like, that's why you see these first generations come over here. They want that because Americans don't realize how great we have it. Most of us have not traveled out of the United States.
If you take it back to that, like you just said, the first generations, I don't care if you was Italian, Polish, whatever, everybody grinded.
They come over here believing like that. They believe in whatever it is they want to do, and they're going to do whatever it takes to do that one thing. And they're putting everything on the line to do it. That's why they're so successful when they do these things. Like that, they do get over here and they are legit. They're super successful. When
slavery ended, you had to think about how African Americans put together, unfortunately, it got bombed and it was all drastic and effed up. But, Black Wall Street, that's Tulsa, Oklahoma. When you have...
that's so messed up.
But like I said, okay, fine. Well, cool. We got
ourselves. Don't even know about that.
And that's the thing.
It's crazy.
The educational system doesn't cover all the people. If we go first generational people that actually busted their ass to build what we have today, no matter what your culture is, that's crazy how now it went from bring me your hungry, bring me your tired, you're the poor. Now it's so politically minutiaed and everything is so crazy. I'm just curious because I don't know. I wonder how hard it is to get into other countries in the world. Hard or not hard,
or how organized?
Is it organized? Is it easy to become a citizen of France or of Africa or anywhere else?
You need to see. I just watched a podcast, so and this is why I like podcast format too. Like this is why I absolutely love this because our media and the news is such bullshit and it's such propaganda.
It's control,
crap, and it's
all about control.
And this is how people are going to get their news. This is how people are going to learn about things. This is how people are going to, this is how media is adapting
until they find a way to censor this.
Where they're trying their hardest. That's why it's so hard to grow a show, and you just got to stick with it and keep going at it. But I just watched one. This cat, what was his name? I think I might butcher this. He was on Mic Drop. Navy SEALs podcast. This dude, I think it's Tyler Kavanaugh. I could be wrong. It's Tyler something. This dude is your typical bona fide GQ badass. I mean, this cat is jacked, did steroids, was piss and vinegar his whole life, became a Navy SEAL, didn't have his shit together, gets kicked out of the SEAL teams after multiple people trying to save his ass, gets kicked out of the SEAL teams, almost commits suicide. Then the dude just decides he's going to go become a French Foreign Legionnaire, which is basically like a Delta Force for the French that will take anybody from any country. And the dude just got his visa, bought a plane, sold all his shit, bought a plane ticket, and showed up at the French Foreign Legionnaires compound and just said, I'm here. I want to do this. Went through that whole process, aced it. Now he's out of that. Now he's a coach and, doing all this other stuff. But, I mean, yeah, we're the only ones that seem to not be able to figure it out for whatever reason of how to secure our borders and put a good process in place to let good people in and keep bad people out. To me, this is not that damn hard with the amount of technology we have today to find solutions to this. And yeah, how long and how much of a job how many jobs would it provide if we just built a wall on our borders? That's somebody's job for an entire presidency. Mm-hmm. Secure our walls. Also, put in a new immigration company that is government jobs, databases, all of this, and connect. The FBI, all these other people supposedly do this and run background checks on people and make a legit process for people to become a citizen.
Unfortunately, though, somebody will find the loophole, then they'll capitalize on it, and then it becomes the whole minutia, no different than the drug business, with medicines and all that stuff. Everybody's making a way to make money off of something, and they find a way to backdoor it. But
the percentage would be so small. If you legit put up a border and you legit made it away, obviously there's still people flying in and out. There's still people flying in and out. There's still boats arriving and stuff like that. You can't build a wall all the way around and protect us on all sides. Mm-mm. But you could at least make a border wall between Canada and
hell. See, nobody talks about Canada. Nobody talks about Canada. It's always Mexico. If you think about the old school movie Red Dawn,
yeah,
they came in through Canada. Mm-hmm. They landed in Kansas and Nebraska, where I'm from, and they came in through the north. Did nobody see it coming? Yeah. Come over the Bering Strait through Russia and then come around and take a left at Albuquerque. Just, man, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But 23 made all that very evident. Was there anything positive for this year that you took? Not the podcast.
Yeah, these foreign affairs are fucking legit.
What are we smoking? We're not drinking anything.
Before we dive down here any further and longer on this, because we're just going to go down rabbit holes today and do a cool little year-end wrap. We're both smoking foreign affair right now.
Top 5 for me.
Frankie, you hit this out of the park with our man Luciano.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to see both of you back in the lounge. Hopefully I can get both of you on the show this year. To me, we've also got the Maria Lucia here, which is Luciano's.
That's his mom's
release from this year, and that's a super cool story. I'll save that for when we have Luciano down here again and get him on the show. But Foreign Affair, at ICC, this made the top 5. Mm-hmm. I think it was number 3, if I remember correctly. Now, Cigar Aficionado, this was like number 19. That's highway robbery. Apparently, you pay enough money, they'll rate you wherever you want to be rated on Cigar Aficionado. But Frankie, congrats, man. This is a phenomenal cigar that you and Luciano did. That's what we're smoking on. We're not drinking anything yet, but we're planning on hanging out and drinking with y'all later. So once they open up this spot, they're so nice. They're letting us come in here and record before it even opens. That way we didn't have to deal with a lot of other things. But if this goes well and whatnot, and maybe enough of you want to come by and see this, and you want to stop by for the live show, we might be able to work that in. Because
this is set up for it.
Next week, we got a cool guest coming in that should be a lot of fun. And he's even going to stay around and hang out, smoke a cigar, have some drinks with you guys. once we do that show.
Promo heavy, so that way
that
people
announcement will be coming real soon.
put in for some PTO, get off work early, come hang out.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. But once again, so positive. We got the Foreign Affair. What was positive for you this year?
Positive for 2023. Man, I haven't even had the time to really sit down and do this yet. I've been working on so many different things. I haven't done this. Taxes are killing me right now. Trying to get prepared for all that because I have not been doing this right. And my wife and I are going through this whole analysis thing. So 2023, what was good? Man, I had a lot of milestones in 2023. It was my 10-year anniversary.
Congrats. You
So
made it through the gauntlet years.
That was a big thing for us. You know, we survived 10 whole years of marriage together and didn't kill each other.
Wait till you get to 27.
Yeah. Man, it was really a year of learning and figuring some things out, man. You know, like this year, figuring out how to grow this show and the little things that we've been doing wrong or that we could be doing better. You know, getting these short clips out and stuff like that, I really think that's going to help boost everything for us and really grow this show this year. You know, we've hinted about it, we've talked about it a little bit on here, but the whole bringing in my passion for music and stuff I used to do with musicians and stuff back in the day, that has taken a whole nother evolution, and we found other ways to do stuff. So I'm going to say pretty confidently that I feel like we're going to have that off the ground in the early spring and be doing our first few shows. It's going to involve a couple different series. I'm going to bring a good friend in. It's going to be like a co-host, I think, on one of the series. That it's going to be pretty awesome. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. We're going to do some like songwriting 101 basically is all I'm going to say about that for right now, but I'm super excited about that. We've got some potential really big names in the music industry that are going to join the show that's already lining up. I'm going to see a place tomorrow that might be able to be involved as well. Other big things for me, man. Like, we wrapped up the stuff at the house. Like, the house is all done. We're getting to finally enjoy that. We have no more furniture being replaced. All open projects are done.
Now, that's got to feel like just completion.
Man, that alone, I got to the point where I was so tired of the stress that was putting on my wife and our relationship and everything else, that having all that done, and you know, there's a lot of lessons I learned in that process and things I could have done way better and been way more helpful with. But yeah, I mean, a lot of good things learned, man, just in different attitudes, working on things. I feel like I really got my health back in check. That was probably the biggest thing for me in 2023. As of today, I am 50 pounds lighter than I was this exact time last year.
50?
50.
Damn.
And it's staying off. I'm maintaining it. I'm still dropping a little bit, but it's, you know, at this point, it's real slow. It's not anything happening fast. I'm not trying to lose 4 to 5 pounds in a week type scenario, anything anymore.
Change your habits.
I'm also trying to put on a little bit of size in certain areas and, you know, do that. But, you know, just having that, I mean, I've got doctor's appointments lined up the first year I'm actually excited for, because I want to go in and see what those numbers say now and see the look on my doctor's face. And I'm 50 pounds lighter than I was last time I saw her. You know, heart doctor and my regular doctor. So, you know, this year was a year and a half of me. I'm a little over a year and a half of not dipping anymore. That was a huge thing. Yeah. Although I clutched when I couldn't have a cigar and stuff and went back to smoking cigarettes off and on. And that was absolutely crucial to me to get that behind me as well. So that's probably the biggest thing. Only cigars now. No more cigarettes.
Natural, from the earth, like weed.
Yeah, I mean, cigars don't have... You know, this is a debate that happens at the lounge a lot, too, of cigarettes and cigars. And my honest feelings on it are this. You know, yes, this is all natural stuff from the earth, and it's not treated with chemicals. So right then and there, that's hands down 10 levels above a cigarette. Mm-hmm. Then add the fact, I mean, they ain't got to put filters on these things. Mm-hmm. Well, you know, what do you need a filter for on a cigarette?
So what is it about a cigarette, though?
It's the chemicals and stuff. Plus, you're fully inhaling cigarettes. Like, I don't know many people that fully inhale cigars. Like,
I know a couple that do.
I mean, I know a couple,
how,
but I don't know how you do that. Like, I would be over here puking, and I smoked cigars regularly.
Every day. Yeah,
Every day.
Yeah, I couldn't understand that part. For me...
Yeah, what about you?
Clarity from the guests that we've had on the show to lessons learned in business as I figured out. So my problem was I couldn't figure out what my business was going to be. Mm-hmm. What can I do? And that's the thing about, we talked about multitasking. I do so many things that I need to just pick a lane and be in and kind of figure it out. Or something somebody said to me was, you've mastered the camera. I've put in my 10,000 hours, all that stuff. DJing. I've been DJing since I was 12, whatever. Now, master the business. It was the business. That's it. Yeah. Doing all this is easy, but it's the business of how does these pieces of equipment that I've invested so much money in actually pay for themselves and make you a living. So the clarity upon that. So for me, it was okay year as far as that, but it was a journey of trying to figure it out. And literally in the last month, in December, when I sat down to write out my goals for 24, this has been the first time that it was super easy to figure out what I was going to do, what the path was, how to do it.
Did you put a why with it this time?
Everything.
Yeah,
I've even got an action plan.
That's why I'm taking a little more time with mine this year. It's got to have a why.
The why, and I have a why with every one of my goals.
And if that why isn't strong, it's getting
because there's an action plan with each one of them as well. Mm-hmm. Here's the action plan. You know, making movies. I've been wanting to make movies, like films, since I was in high school. I dabbled here and there. I've done 600 music videos, which are mini movies to me, but I've never taken the time out. But when I finally got here to Texas and got to Dallas, and now this year, I was able to meet people that are actually in the industry to give insight, that have seen my work, and they're interested and want to do it. It's just the ability to network to get to where you want to be. It gave me more clarity that I'm actually working on a film project as we speak. I've written it, I've outlined it, I've done it. I had a WhatsApp call this morning with a kid from London that I was introduced to from somebody that I just met this weekend, and he just graduated from London Film School, and his strength is writing. So sent him an NDA, presented him with my idea, and now this kid is writing the script. I can write, but I don't have time. Mm-hmm. So I was able to give him a beginning, a middle, and an end, and he's filling in the blanks. I got everything else handled. You know, the production and what we're doing with the show, when we discovered a lot of things that would help make the show forward as far as how we do the promotion and do things like that, all the effort you put into it, the stuff that I bring and all that, that's become a lot more clear in the path of you working it out. Personally, relationships at home, all these things, like literally at the end of this month, just got clear. And it's like now the biggest thing is execution.
Yeah.
One thing people do is they think that they spend so much time. I read a book called The 4 Hour Work Week years ago. Tim Ferriss.
Just doing it. Yeah. Tim
even tells you in the book, now put this shit down and go do something. Mm-hmm. People can wish and dream all day, but if there's no execution, you're wasting your time. And that was it. Like, I know people that are professional students. They've got masters, bachelors, PhDs, and don't do shit with it. That's like going to the gym and sitting down and expecting to get in shape. Just sitting down and watching.
How many people do you know, and you can use our guests for this example, I think several of them even talked about this. How many of our guests, how many of you out there have a degree in something
that you don't even work in?
That you actually do, and you're not a doctor or a lawyer. If you're not if you're not in the medical field, you're not a lawyer, how many of you have a degree that you actually... Your job or your business is a direct result of that degree.
So here's the change I've seen.
I mean, like that's like, I'll bet you 20% actually do.
Out of desperation, until I snapped myself out of it and decided to work for myself and not really try to build other people's dreams. Now, my skill set will help other dreams, but it's part of my skill set. But what I noticed when I started looking at LinkedIn and looking at all these things, degrees weren't really highly sought after. Now I'm looking and I'm seeing a lot more experience. This degree or the experience equivalent. I see that pretty much in everything. And that's what people are wanting, that because, I mean, college, and I'm not dissing education, because you have to have education to understand vocationally whatever you're doing. But to me, a degree is nothing but showing that you can take 4 years of your life and dedicate yourself and commit to the discipline. Discipline is the key word at the very top of my goals list. I want to take the word goals out and just put discipline. Ed Milet talks about that all the time. When you have to man up and you have to actually show discipline. Now, I didn't lose 50. I lost like 18. You know, but one of my goals was just not about weight. It was like being able to bench 225 10 times, being able to actually squat this, being able to get into a large shirt and a 34-inch waist. Those are my goals, because to me, it's more achievable than looking at a scale, because muscle weighs more than fat. So if you're actually hitting it and the scale is going up and you're getting depressed, but I'm now wearing an extra large shirt that's loosey-goosey, that's what you have to look at. But it takes discipline to stay consistent to reach it.
Yeah, but and you're right though. But like, neither of us would have had the coach without the coaching of Alex.
I mean,
and where we're taking our measurements, because like you said, if you try to live and die by that scale, you're gonna fail.
But your arms going from a 13 through a 17.
That shit's going to make you furious on days where you went down 4 pounds this week and now you're up 3 pounds.
And what he did was
down 2 pounds and now you're up 1 pound.
But like, Alex enforced consistency. He says, man, don't trip. So what? You ate, because my wife be on some bullshit. Because like this weekend, she made banana bread. Shit, that
yours got an Uber Eats addiction too?
Bruh. No. She made it. No, banana bread. My wife has this thing like, when the holidays hit, she loses her mind and becomes like Chef Boyardee Pillsbury,
Betty
like
Crocker in there.
Man, bruh, she made lemon cake, like everything that I love that I don't mess with.
Damn it, Cool Beans, I didn't get none of this,
bruh. She's making 2 tonight. I'll save you one. She knows I love red velvet. Like I don't eat like my kids eat. I don't eat candy and all that, but like baked shit, bruh. And I don't eat it because I don't do sugar. But the holidays you let loose a little bit, and I was like, Alex, man, she made banana bread. He says, well, hell, eat a piece for me. He said, just make sure that you spend about an extra 20 minutes on your cardio to counteract that. Don't feel guilty and no control. Have discipline, but you can't go through your life living like a health monk and not do anything, because the one thing that he taught me that anybody should take this thing. If you've been working out, busting your ass, and you plateau, here's something that I never knew. I've been doing this weightlifting thing off and on for years, and I would always plateau at 209. No matter what, man, at 209, I'd stop. And I'm like, what the hell? He said, because your body is used to carrying a certain amount of weight, and it automatically shuts everything down no matter what you put into it until you push it past that point, because you're staying consistent. And then I dropped down to 201. That's where I'm at 201. Finally, I even got the little.
That's so funny. 209 was a part for me, and now it's 200 pounds.
See, and I'm just trying to get to 190.
I hit 198. And then I go back to 199, and then somewhere in the week I'll be at 201.
Your body is just used to carrying something no matter what you put into it. So when you see all these people that I saw lost all this drastic weight, how many of them you see them gain twice the amount of weight back the next time you see them? I'm not saying no names, but I've just noticed people in the lounge that was like, whoop, and then ain't seen them for 6 or 7 months, and now they're bigger than what they were. And I'm like, yo, what happened? And that's only because the consistency went out the window due to life. Yeah. Life happened, things go on, things change or whatever. But I've always heard that with credit, with money, with relationships, with weight, if you take the time for a period of time to live like no one else, that's the sacrificial part, you'll end up living a life like no one else. That's the reward. And you don't do it for 1 minute. This is just your new habits.
Yeah.
And if you get that discipline to keep the new habits and adapt them, then things are great.
And there's people that, I've moved on from. There's, groups, certain social activities and stuff that I've been letting go to the wayside.
And has it caused you any more detriment in your life?
I've changed.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
But you know what? there's certain things I want in my life, and you know what? I was putting a lot of things on hold, and I wasn't living the way I wanted to live, and I was just, finding other things to occupy time. Whether that's
I did a lot of that.
Or,
chasing other people's way of life.
Yeah.
I think, well, if the camera ain't working for me, I'm going to go get a trucking company. I'm going to go do this, and I got to do that.
Do this and that. Like, nah, bullshit. You don't, do you.
But some people don't know what that you is.
You know what? And I still don't know. You got to
find your own identity.
Completely. But you know what? Every day I'm doing the things that are working, and I'm sticking with those habits and those disciplines, because when I look back, when I had that discipline and I did those things, guess what? Life was a lot better. Guess what? I was healthier. I was this. I was that. People, he was very aggressive. He was, an entrepreneur. He was chasing this stuff. You start letting some of that go by the wayside because everybody says I'm too busy. Everybody says I'm too busy. Bullshit. You're too busy with the wrong things.
Mm-hmm.
You got to find the things that you want to be busy with. And I'm still not great at this. I'm still working on this, constantly. My wife would probably tell you 20 things I fail at every day, but she also supports me on the things I am succeeding at. So there's balance. And finding those balances, I think, is crucial to everybody.
This is the year of the blinder for me.
Putting people in your surrounding and in your circle that are doing the things, and you know what? That's hard sometimes, because everybody says that, put yourself at the table that you don't feel comfortable at. Well, how do you find that table? How do you do that? And but then if you start thinking about it, how many times did you have a chance that you could have sat at a table, or you could have gone over and introduced yourself, or had a conversation with somebody and just treated them like a normal human being and started a conversation with them? As good as I think I am at that at times, I suck at it too. And it was man, I wasn't doing enough of that. Yeah, it's going to be uncomfortable sitting at that table. Sometimes I'll say, a lot, especially with a lot of the people that I get to meet through this show, through the lounge, stuff like that. I'm man, I can't play in that arena. But you know what? Once I started a conversation, started trying to befriend somebody and actually be their friend and get to know them, did they ever treat me any differently? No. I could rattle off some names, but I'm not going to sit here and just name drop. But there's a person, and he knows who he is. He's been on the show, and man, first few times I was around him, I love the dude. The great personality, he's super successful at what he does. And I was man, I can't play in that game. That dude makes and has made 10x times what I've made in my lifetime. But you know what? He's never treated me that way. That was my own internal struggle of me trying to envision that and try to be around that. And that dude just called me last week and was yo, let's hang out. I want to smoke a cigar. We need to catch up. And we set a date for when he's free and I'm free. And, here in a week or two, we're going to go hang out and have some cigars. And who knows, just get caught up on things. But I can tell you the first few times I was man, I don't deserve to be at this table. Why? I can't invest with these dudes. I can't this and that. I set those limitations though. I set that because in reality, I could still learn something from them. Maybe, it's a connection to somebody that, helps me out in my business. And you know what? Every time I let those things go, I'm shown that something good comes of it and something's going to happen when you just get past that stuff and you quit worrying about it.
Well, so the 2 points to make to that is, if anybody just think about this, I was saying this is the year of me putting blinders on. Think about when you are quiet in a room and you take everything in, you learn so much more that you didn't even know was there if you just give yourself a minute to be an observer and not always have to participate. Now, it's fun to get your point in, to get your opinion and all that stuff in, but I just think one of my goals for this year is to observe more. And have you ever seen the TikTok stuff when they say disappear for a year?
Mm-hmm.
I want to do that. I want to disappear for a year, kind of be quiet, not kind of be the outspoken one. Kind of think how James Bond does. He's just a cool cat in the room. But if you speak to him, he's knowledgeable, he's in there, he's rock solid, but he doesn't always have to be the center of attention. He's that guy that just observes, does what he needs to do, and he can execute when he needs to.
You know, that's one of the things I feel like I did so much better in 2023 than 2022 when I have gone back and been doing this editing and doing these new shorts and stuff.
You're able to review your performance.
That my favorite episodes are the ones where I don't have to talk as much, and that it's, you know, I can guide a conversation
and then let it run,
ask some questions and redirect people back and forth. But the people that I just get on a roll and they just flow and it's like a flow state, man, that's gold to me now. And you know what? Like you said, I'm trying to do that more in my life. Not always give my opinion, not always have something to say, and to do so much less of that, because like you said, you learn so much. God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, you know, and the more I embrace that, the more I see value in multiple ways.
That's what I like about the show, is that we've gotten everybody on, from ex-athletes to Navy SEALs to entrepreneur to construction. And I'm taking a little bit, taking a little bit from their experiences and how they use common sense to get where they've gotten. And some of it you can relate to, and some of it you never thought about.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why you would see me in episodes. I'm staring at the phone because I monitor everything. So I'm monitoring on the phone with Facebook, and I'm looking at YouTube and all that stuff. But then I'm writing notes down and taking nuances from what they're saying, because they're dropping gems as we're going. And what's cool about now that we have software that can pick out the gems for us, and you can go see it. And it's just like, it's such a collective that everybody right now, with one of my jobs being content creation for social media, and knowledge is probably the new commerce. You know, everybody sold something, everybody got everything, but now when you go to social media, it's all about learn. But now even they figure out a way now, if you want to learn more, you got to pay me, which is fine. I'm not mad at that, because I've been taught by fellow photographers over the years that they've all gotten a mentor and they've paid for it. Mm-hmm. Everything ain't cheap in life. You can't get everything for free.
No.
If you want something to perform, it's going to cost something. It has to have value to it.
You got to invest in your own education, too.
Yes, and that goes back to what we said, it's experience. Everything doesn't have to come with a degree or certification. If you go to what's the greatest school of ever? The School of Hard Knocks. You know, and that's from the way we were raised by our parents, our grandparents, the world, experiences and all that. You know, I try to tell my children, like the first time when my son, the 15-year-old, but I think he was 12 at the time when he ran away, and it was like 13 degrees outside. And when he went to come back in, and I locked the door and I let that ass stay outside for about a good half hour, freezing, I said, as you see outside these doors, the world is a lot colder than what it is in here. Mm-hmm. And you're going to see that you weren't prepared for that. Now, if you were prepared and smarter when you ran away, instead of running outside in a T-shirt and shorts, acting like you were taking out the trash, but you had a backpack sitting around the corner and thought you were going to do something, you weren't prepared. And that's what I'm trying to teach you. He learned the lesson that way, the School of Hard Knocks. And you could be a bookworm all day, but if you don't venture outside that comfort zone, how do you grow? If you don't work a muscle out and stress it and break it down, it won't grow. If you don't exercise this and then execute, how will you grow?
You know, I struggle with this. There's some groups that I've looked into. The problem is there's so many bullshit ones that these guys take hard. Your money, you come be a part of these groups, and what did you really gain from it?
And that's where the mistrust comes in when I was talking about
where a lot of that happens, man. And, you know, I'm not going to name any names because there's one I'm still heavily on the fence on. My wife's against most of this stuff, you know, when it comes to that, just because she's seen so many people get burnt on those things. And I get it. Trust me, it makes me super leery myself. But you also have to weigh what rooms is this putting you in? Is it putting you in a room where at the end of the day you still learned something? Did you have to buy more stuff? Did you, you know, what's it really doing? And, you know, really checking these guys out, because some of them are all about showing you on Instagram their fancy cars, flying in private jets, and all this bullshit.
Most of that's bullshit.
And most of it's bullshit. But then there's the ones that are really legit, and you kind of got to weigh through that stuff. And, you know, there's ones that, you know, I think are really cool, and then, you know, there's ones that, you know, That ain't the game I'm trying to be in right now. That
Somebody asked me this question literally.
Hold up, though, because you just gave me a great idea a second ago, and I ain't letting you off.
I hope you ain't going to say the same thing, because I'm going to tell you. You go ahead first, and I'll tell you what somebody just literally said in a conversation on my way here in what you're talking about. Go ahead.
All right. So you just said, and I watch you do this while we're doing these shows. You take notes, and you're writing down these nuggets. You probably get a better job of this. I don't like having something to write on.
I live by it.
I mean, I brought something today that while we were here, I was going to kind of, go through this, and I had some ideas, but you and I just flow. So I was like, this isn't really more what I'm going to do or talk about X, Y, Z. So like, I don't really like doing that, and I feel like it takes some focus away. But I am going to go with one of my small notebooks moving forward in 2024 so that I can write down more, because I'm going to talk less than I talked in 2023. So that's part of my goal. But I think something cool we could probably do, and we find a way to put it on the website. After the shows, we should take my show prep notes of what I put out there. I'm sure somebody would want to see those. Maybe not. I don't know. Sometimes I don't do any show prep notes. But we should have like a little segment on there, Biz's Gems. And like whatever you wrote down,
and why that stood out to me.
Why that stood out to you or whatever. Maybe we make that a little segment, or maybe we do a short recap after. We'll talk about this more, but I want to throw that out there. I'm putting this on him because I know he takes these good notes, because then we have these conversations after the fact.
Always.
Or off the air while we're loading all this crap up. We're sitting here talking about those, and sometimes that goes to the wayside. Because how much do you and I actually go back and watch one of these? It's those moments that stick out in our heads, though.
Because when I do the reviews and all that stuff like that, the recaps, that's when I do it. But I always go for the 2 minutes and the 2 cents.
Do it for the 2 cents, and we do it for the, what would your last piece of advice be, stuff like that. But what if we did that just because there's other nuggets in there, and like the AI is catching those, and that's what we're putting out in some of these short clips and stuff, because then that's key in moments for us.
But it could be something the AI doesn't catch, and there's a reason why this resonates. Like, if you listen to a minister in a sermon. So what I was going to say, what you're saying with that, though, is that think about what we talked about. Education is the new commerce. Think about all the shit that you know. The things that you not that you take it for granted, but you just don't think about it in your industry. Right. You right now could formulate a course to do what you do. Even if you look at some of the guys we talked about, your new hires, to do what you do and train them and teach them. But people never think about taking what they have as a skill and not selling it as a scammy course. What if there was a new approach to it, to where it's more of a hands-on internship? It's this, it's that. Is there another way to pass on that knowledge, but make it to where the value is there and it doesn't seem like it is a scam?
Yeah, no, it's funny you say that. This is actually a note I have. We're going to be having our 2024 sales meeting with my partners at Element in the upcoming weeks. And that is actually something I'm trying to get the buy-in on.
I really think that you can get more people into your industry if it was more of a hands-on, one-on-one course with the payoff in the end.
The thing I'm seeing and learning the most about my business, even after 15 years of doing this, is you get to a point where you just want an opportunity starting out. You get the opportunities, you work really hard to get those, and you start building relationships. And at a certain point, you can only do so much, and you're trying to keep everybody happy.
But I think you also have to teach the way that we've learned it, because this is a generation of instant gratification.
Right.
If they do it that way with you, it's not a sprint. It is a marathon, but the reward is so much more at the end if you stick it out.
Exactly, but how do you reward them and give them pieces of that to have them do that and help you build? Because at the end of the day, in sales, it's your relationships that matter.
Mm-hmm.
And if you start letting relationships suffer, then your business suffers, and you hit a point where you're trying to do too much. Or then you try to hand off certain things and other things fall through the cracks, and it costs you a relationship. It does different things. I've experienced this tremendously in the last 2 years, and especially as our business is on a downturn right now. hopefully going back up in 2025. I think 2024 is going to be a rough year for my industry to a certain degree. But how do you bring that back up and pick that back up? You have to delegate a little bit more, and you have to be able to be focused on that one thing that really truly matters is the presence and the relationships.
Maybe you get a couple.
So
Test
giving
subjects
more,
and try.
I've got the subjects, and it's how we make it all work, because now I'm changing our business model that's worked very good for 20 years to a certain degree. And that's going to be,
things
the
have to evolve.
we have to have.
Things have to evolve. The way you did it 20 years ago isn't the way it's done now, or the clientele or the people that you're looking, the talent you're looking for is different. We couldn't operate, like I have a granddaughter who's 2, almost 3, and she can out-program anybody on the phone, do all these other things. So there's just different ways you have to look at it.
Yeah.
With my business, I'm so busy looking for outsourcing for editing and other things that I don't want to do in other countries. And I'm like, why can't I find somebody right here that's hungry, that's talented? But the problem is I can't find anybody with the dedication towards it, or they'll be like, I don't want to do this anymore. And they're gone.
How much are you paying me?
Exactly. Instead of how much can I teach you?
Yeah.
How about I teach you, and then at the end of once you got it, you get it, you're good. Then you're worth your weight. Then we can pay you.
Nobody wants to put in the time and the work. That's what's so hard.
So maybe that's something that we work at in 2024. When we bring people in, we bring people on. We kind of give a little bit of a movement. I'm planning on bringing in some interns to start helping with the setup, how to work this, how to nuance it, how to look at everything and everything else. So I can actually sit in on an episode while I watch my person run this whole outfit. That they're hungry, they want to do it for themselves and do it the right way.
Multi-camera will help with that too. That's going to be something dope. I'm really looking forward to that.
There's so many people starting YouTube channels and they already have this knowledge, but nobody wants to kind of up the game and take it to a professional level. I have a niece who 4 years ago, I took her senior pictures in high school. Now she works for the Houston Astros as a photographer.
My nephew, we had him on the show. I got to find a way to get this little dude involved, man. It's like, Alex.
Because he is smart as a whip.
Dude, he's unreal, man. This kid blows my mind every time I talk to him.
We're looking at our timestamp here.
Yeah, we got to start wrapping it up.
So give me your 2 cents for not what you learned in the past, but what are your 2 cents for what you're looking for this year?
My 2 cents. I should have known you were going to do this to me.
Damn right, because I don't never get to do it. So it's your turn to be on the hot seat.
Yeah. My 2 cents. My 2 cents is listen more, talk less. Number 1. My 2nd cent is learn more. Put time into your own education, your own knowledge, your own expansion of that, and put a plan together to do those things. Don't just talk about it, be about it. Don't just talk about it. Because, if there's one thing I have done well is I don't procrastinate. Now, if I decide to do something, I'm all in. And I go all in.
Yeah, this evident.
And I'll learn the hard way.
This is an example
I
right here.
have to learn the hard way sometimes. I go all in. I'm either in or I'm out. There's no half-ass version of me that can just half-ass it. And when I feel like something's being half-assed, that's what kills me. Or if I don't have enough time to dedicate to that or whatnot, then usually I'll drop it and I'll try to find another way. But that would be what I would say, because I feel like if you establish what it is you want to do, what it is you want to learn, and you put a why with it, and that why is important enough to you, then you make the plan to do it. You have the discipline to do that day in and day out, whether that's a small little step each and every day that you are actively moving towards that, and then just have the discipline to not quit. And if you do those things, that was resonated by every single guest that is successful in their field, whatever that field may have been, from the special forces guys that have gone on to do other great things, to the business owners, to the Doug Cardozas that chased their dream and never quit and kept going, to the sales guys, you name it. I can show you examples in any episode of where somebody did that. Your favorite one, JJ. you know, yeah, you're going to fail, but that failure is just a stepping stone to go one next time. But if you have the discipline to keep after it day in, day out, and don't quit, eventually you'll get there.
Mine are the same. It's pretty much the same thing. I think I would probably say is my 2 cents is take all the goals you've had in the last 10 years. Look at the ones you've accomplished, the ones you have not. Take the ones you have not and cut them down into one. Literally. Take your goals one goal at a time so you can focus on that goal and achieve it. Put all, it's kind of like when you snowball debt. You're going to focus on one debt until it's paid off, and then when you take that debt, you take the extra that you had and you put it on the next debt. Just look at it as a goal. Take the energy and the effort after you accomplish one. Now take that same energy and effort, put it on the next one. And that's what my goal is for this year, is to make sure that I focus on one goal at a time, and I don't have 200, I only have 5. And they're in different regions of my life. They're financial, they're spiritual, they're self-healing, they're the business, all those things. But yes, you may have to do little things to make them other ones go, but I'm going to knock out one at a time because I think focus is focus when it's very
You got to
focused.
turn one into a habit at a time.
A habit at a time.
You can steadily be working towards all of them, but it's making some part of that a habit in your daily life.
And to sum it up, execution. Mm-hmm. Like you said, don't talk about it, be about it. Talking to our boy Ryan, here's one thing he gave me 2 years ago. He says, now shut up. He says, shut up and just show me. I don't want to hear about nothing else you want to do. I want to see the results of what you've done. Yep. And that's literally my 2 cents. Just show me better than you can tell me.
Yeah.
And that will say everything and do everything. And if you live your life like that, man, it's easy peasy.
You know what? And that's I had this conversation with 2 of our younger project managers. I ain't gonna call y'all out by name, but that's the same damn thing I've told both of you for the last year, and we're about to have this conversation again.
See, now you already know Monday morning y'all in trouble, but don't worry about it.
It ain't Monday morning, but yeah. But it's the same thing. You guys are surrounded by 60 years of knowledge in this industry. Quit talking the talk, man. Quit bumping your gums so that everybody hears about what you know, what you think, and just listen, man. And if you quit acting like you know everything and you shut up and just start doing your job and you start paying attention and you care about it, these other guys will help you. You'll learn. You'll grow. But you get too caught up in telling people what you know and talking about these things, and you really need to tone that down. And that goes for a lot of people in a lot of different instances. I just gave a very specific example, and it's ironic. I mean, look at us. Both of us, we do this podcast together, and we're trying to grow something here together, and we got the other one in the mix. But yet both of us have different day jobs. We have different things to pay the bills. We have different family situations and stuff like that. But
the same value
out of
outlook.
all of this, we both have grown from the same things in 2023, and we both kind of have the same almost exact goals and outlooks.
I think that's something we'll talk about in another episode, is how people, your 5 people that you hang with are the sum of who you are, and how certain things align. And they do that naturally. They just do it naturally. I've done, but we won't drag it out to that point. We'll just wrap it up and say that our outlook is execution for 2024.
Absolutely.
Whatever yours may be, we'll do. But it looks like they're about to open up for business.
Yeah, they're starting to start opening up things. So let's wrap this up. Man, I've enjoyed sitting down doing this wrap up with you, man.
We don't ever get a chance to just hang out and do it like this. So, but we will continue the conversation after we clean all this up and get right.
Derek and Cherie, I want to give you a huge thank you. I hope you'll let us come back next week, do this again. You guys were very gracious with this. You guys, hopefully some of y'all come to join us, have a cigar, have some drinks with us. We're going to do this again next week. So the plan is of right now, as soon as I get confirmation, we will put out next week's guest. I'm going to leave you again with, if you've checked out the podcast, Jesus in Jiu-Jitsu, we got Mr. Strasburger coming on the show next week, and I think y'all are going to really enjoy this. And he's even agreed to come hang out afterwards with you guys. So we're going to do the show. It'll be pre-recorded. It will come out relatively close to when we normally put the shows out. This is going to be the situation for the next 4 to 6 weeks. You're not going to be able to be live commenting, so we're going to be going back, watching y'all's comments. Send us messages, send us comments, give us likes, give us shares. That really helps. You guys want to go in, you guys are enjoying the show, please go in, give us a review, give us a like. That matters a lot for what we are doing. But yeah, back next week with the first guest of the new season, and we're ready to rock. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Till next time, peace.
Happy 2024.
Happy 2024.